All right, shalom, shalom, boys. Here. Well, I wanted to get on here and talk about some very important dynamics because it's so important to understand the inner dynamics we see. And I'm talking about community. I'm talking about homesteading. I'm talking about community. I'll be talking about my personal experiences, what I've seen, and I'll be also talking about uh, what you need to watch out for, what you need to understand when it comes to successful community, when it comes to successful homesteading, things of that nature. Okay, so let me start out with it. um, One of the people said, when I was talking to them, they said, you failed at community. And I said, no, no, I didn't fail at community. And let me tell you why. And you need to understand the dynamics of how a community is established. How does it come about? And if you can understand that, then you can understand your rate or your ability to succeed um, uh, and grow as a community. Okay. So with that being said, when I first started out uh, fellowshipping, I was in South Jersey, and the group of people that I was with, we were a very small group. I mean, no more than uh, probably about five or six families. Okay. And that's rather small. You had other communities that they had 10, 12, 15 families that it's associated. But in the tri state area at that time, there was about five or six families. Now, when you think about and understand, okay, community, and then you had, single sisters, your single brothers, so forth and so on, you're going to have that mix. But what makes anything successful uh, is the right ingredients. Okay, so if you're going to cook, or you're going to make something, or you're going to develop something, you have to have the right ingredients in order to make it work, to make it flourish. Okay, you just can't take shit, put it together, and think that something wonderful is going to come out of it, because that's just not the case. So, fellowshipping uh, with the folks, you had brethren that were married but were in dysfunctional marriages. You had single brother, the one that was advertised, the other brother junior, he was a diagnosed schizophrenic. You had people that was single but didn't have any resources. You had people that were older, but the husband is on board but the wife is not on board. You had a hodgepodge of that type of stuff. And when you are attempting to build something like a community and you're coming out, because I understood full well, I'm an analytical person. Like I've said it over and over again. I'm a project manager by trade. I understand analytics. I understand metrics. Uh, and I say it over and over again. Before I even was able to join the military, I was state conference president for the NAACP, so I understood organizational politics. I understood how to rally and get people together to get something done. And I was doing this at 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. Um, and that's just a fact. I oversaw all of the youth councils and college divisions in the state of New York. That was an elected position, and I served a 2-year term in that position. Uh, but I understood the dynamics of what it took to plan something. I planned state conferences where you had to, book a hotel and then book events and keynote speakers and events and parties and fundraisers. I was doing all of that before I was 18 years old. So with that being said, I understood what it took to organize a group of people to achieve an objective, and I knew early on that I didn't have what it took. And this has nothing to do with me. I mean, you're given the hand that you're dealt. Some people, now in fellowship, they fellowship with dozens of people, and in others you have small scenarios. So I knew from the beginning that, listen here, this is not going to be the group of people that uh, is going to build community. And then you have most of the people, they weren't ready to come out, they weren't ready to move. Um, uh, Pastor Dow made one of these guys an elder. He unfortunately, and he was a good friend of mine. I brought him into the faith, and unfortunately, he passed away from cancer. Um, and then after that, his wife fell out the faith. Um, Other brethren, you know what I'm saying? One or two brethren moved, and then that situation didn't work out. Uh, but you had these kind of scenarios taking place. So that's just from the people that I fellowship with. And I would say in the rebuttal to, me failing, and I'll get to the second part of this, but I would say to the rebuttal of me failing to, do community is I would like for you to take each one of those individuals that are still a part of the ministry now, and if they're a part of a community. To my knowledge, they're not. They're not a part of any community. They or home, or but they're not a part of any community where they're developing, and like what you see at Straitway, or even what you see. Pastor Dow did an excellent video touring, I believe, Straitway, Alabama. It wasn't that kind of situation. You got to have the man and the resources in order to accomplish that kind of setup. And I just didn't have it from the beginning. It wasn't my fault. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just wasn't there. The people just wasn't there. And I knew, and it took me about 3 years to save up for land. And I knew that I'd have to do it all alone. I knew I'd have to come up with all of the funds all alone, because pretty much people were either broke, having too many personal problems, or wasn't simply put ready to move, or their wives weren't on board, things of that nature. So that was the pretty much the dynamic of community when it comes to, what happened here. I had to buy the land. I had to provide all of the funds, things of that nature. Um, but as well, saving up food. I mean, it went beyond just buying the land. It was food, all of the standard stuff: food, ammo, resources, material resources, things of that nature. I knew that all this weight would have to be on me, because no one else had any skills, real skills, or anything like that. Um, Nor did they have any resources. You know what I'm saying? So I knew it would be all on me. So that's how the dynamic that took place. And now we'll move into the second part of what I'm talking about. Excuse me, with regards to community. Then you get into a situation where, okay, you're here. No, I didn't get that far. I didn't get that far, and I didn't even want to get that far. And that is come from the aspect of, somebody like, Pastor Dow saying, take this person here, take this person here, take this person here. And I knew that would be problematic due to the simple fact of, and I'm gonna get into the second aspect of that, which is loyalty. Okay, loyalty. Now you got to understand, community is not only a great uh, situation where you can share resources and live in one mind and spirit, and everybody has no one can call nothing that is his own, and that bullshit. We don't see it practicing in real life. I mean, you can see it visually, but uh, I knew that would be a problem, because not only are we doing community from the perspective of, being able to live in one mind and one spirit, and having all things in common, but also there's this event that we're all talking about. And Pastor Dow talks about it all the time: shit hit the fan, economic collapse, social disorder, and how it's so important to have, and Pastor Joe Fox talks about this. Everybody from just a community perspective, everybody talks about this. It's the same conversation, where you want strong men and strong brethren that know how to wield a firearm, that is physically capable, that is mentally capable, of sound mind. And when it comes to the analytics of that, I didn't have that as well. There's just a lot of broken people out there. There's a lot of people with a whole bunch of psychological issues, emotional issues. And from the deliverance perspective, we understood, or we understand now. Well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about understanding the deliverance ministry, that the scriptures talk about, uh, you know, uh, continuing to give somebody deliverance, and what happens when those spirits return? They begin to get worse and worse and worse. And that's a perfect example of what you saw in Rufus. He just got worse and worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? And then, no deliverance whatsoever as the years go by. But that goes into the notion of loyalty, right? So we're dealing with the concept of loyalty. And I'm going to play something because obviously the video that passed that Rufus, not that Rufus, that Brother Vernon did in his testimony, that is no longer on Pastor Dow's channel. I find that, and I wanted to do a review of that, but I didn't get around to it. He took it down for whatever reason that he did that. But this was Rufus, his second in command. It was done 2 years ago. Okay, so 2 years ago. Okay, and it's talking about home conversion, but I want you to hear what he's saying, and I'm going to do some commentary on that because Pastor Dow put Vernon there. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, everybody there was homeless. Pastor Dow had to purchase that land. But let's go and see what he says, and I'll get into the end result. Because again, at the day, I don't care about what nobody say. All I care about is the results. Because see, the results trumps what Pastor Dow has to say. The results trump what Pastor Rufus has to say. The results trump what any of the elders have to say. All we need to do is look at the results. And then we'll see who was operating in the spirit of truth and who was operating in the spirit of error. So let's go.
So much traffic in and out of the elder's house because, he has different things going on. He does a lot of interviews and things of that nature.
So he does a lot of interviews, okay? Now, he don't do a lot of working. He do a lot of talking. Now, this was from 2 years ago, okay? This video was from 2 years ago. He does a lot of talking. He don't do a lot of working. This is the guy that was doing all the work. This man, I've worked with him before in building the chicken coop at Straitway. He knows what he's doing. And even more so now, having a greater appreciation, being able to learn framing and building and all that stuff. He's a better builder than me. I didn't say a better leader. I didn't say a better businessman because I made more money than him, even though he's a better builder than me. Okay. And I got receipts to show. But let's go.
Yeah, this will be an excellent piece just to when saints got to use the restroom or take showers, they can come in and use this restroom versus the main house.
Okay, and then we have the
the main bedroom here, which is an 18 by 12. 18 feet comes to here with an additional 2 feet, a little over 2 feet, so they can have a walk-in closet. Well, they can have a closet and
that's a closet.
2x4 doors to close it off. Mm-hmm. This is the hot water tank that's going to fuel the bathroom, and everything's going to be peachy keen.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the update. I know you have to get on the roof, so yes, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
How much money I can make with this dude is crazy. But and that's just from a business perspective. And there's a lot of beautiful things that's happening on a business front. But let me go ahead and just continue. So let's deal with the concept of loyalty. Okay, loyalty. When we go back to the concept of community, we're dealing with this situation where there's going to be an event that we know is going to take place in the future. And I'll get into that in another video with regards to how homesteaders need to prepare. But when it comes to community, there's this event that's going to take place that we know. There's going to be social unrest. There's going to be a situation where there's going to be a breakdown in social order. And this is why we all say, move out into the country, move way out into the country as you can, develop good relationships, develop real skill sets, store, become self-sufficient, all of the things which I have been pretty much proficient at doing. And that's why I show it through the manners of my lifestyle. I don't talk it. I show it and I do it. But when you're dealing with loyalty, right? See, in that video that Vernon did, his loyalty was to Pastor Dow first, then to Rufus. Now, You got to understand something when it comes to a dynamic. Okay, I'm going into a situation where uh, I'm going to have to trust my brother with my life, with the lives of my children, with the lives of my wife, my family, concubines, maidservants, brothers, whatever you want to call it. I need to make sure that that person is loyal to me first. I don't give a shit because at the end of the day, when the shit hit the fan, Pastor Dow's not going to be there. They're going to be there. Okay. And you know the kind of spirit and the spirit of discontent and the spirit that comes up on a man when he knows that, that he wasn't loyal to you first. See, it's problematic. And this is why ultimately this situation failed. And all of them will fail when they have this dynamic. Because me as a leader, I'm thinking, you know what? Hey, I understand that, you know what I'm saying? This man is over here and that you love him and that you honor him and you respect him. And hey, I do too. However, at the end of the day, when shit hit the fan, it's going to be me and you, brother. It's going to be my family, your family, and these other families. And so, therefore, we need to make sure that our loyalties are to one another first. Because at the end of the day, Pastor Dow, he ain't going to be thinking about nobody else when shit hit the fan. He's going to have enough problems and challenges on his hand when it comes to fortifying and making sure that the army or government don't come in, you know what I'm saying, and start wreaking havoc. And again, that's another video that I'm talking about because that's his chief adversary at this point in time. That's where that challenge is going to come from with Pastor Dow. It's going to come from government. It's going to come from them dealing with him in a certain manner. I'm going to get into that in another video. But you need to understand that this is the dynamic that you need to understand. So, I don't care who you are, I don't care what organization you're a part of. You're going to want to make sure that the people that you are fellowshipping with, people that you're on land with, are loyal to you first. That you feel that sense that they're loyal to you first, because at the end of the day, no one else is going to matter. No one else is going to matter when the shit hits the fan. There's not a soul on the face of planet Earth that's going to matter if things go the way one would expect, or the way that Pastor Dow talks about. And I'll just speak from that perspective. Everybody has a different notion or a different idea of what's going to take place. However, you know what? I tell you got to watch children, man. They get into stuff. You got to watch them. But nothing else is going to matter. And so that's from that perspective, you need to make sure that whoever you're associating with, they're loyal to you first. That's a fact. Pastor Dow or anybody or any other kid, they're going to be loyal to their people that are there first. Their focus when a balloon goes up, a shit hits the fan code, or a virus, they're going to be loyal and they're going to be focused on their camp first, not anybody else. So therefore, you need to make sure that spirit of loyalty is there, because in that video, it showed that, he gave homage and he gave honor to Pastor Dow, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, after all, Pastor Dow is giving him wives. He's giving him land. He's giving him a roof over his head. He's giving land for him to live on, and on that acre or so of land that they're living in Straitway, Georgia. He's done all of that for him. So, he should pay honor and respect to the man. However, when you come from the perspective of community, when you come from the perspective of shit hit the fan, you want to make sure that those loyalties are there first. Okay, first. And so so that's what we're dealing with, that issue. Okay, so when it comes to building community, it's a beautiful thing to do, but you got to have competent people. You got to have. And this has been talked about. Many people, Pastor Fox has talked about this. Pastor Dow's talked about this. Many preppers and survivalists have talked about this. It's a standard thing. You want at least 3 to 5 strong families, strong, competent men that know how to wield a gun, that know how to follow instructions, that know how to think outside the blocks. That and I didn't have that. I mean, I didn't have that. And in spite of what anybody might say, anybody that I used to fellowship with, none of them are in community now. And this is damn 8, 10 years ago. This is 10 years ago. I'm about to finish up, you know what I'm saying, the touches on and the things that I need to do in terms of, I mean, I got pretty much all of the resources that I need. I just need to put the things in terms of my primary projects, on the land, in terms of, refurbishing the double wide, doing all the work, putting in. I put in all of the doors, new windows, everything. It took time because I did it all, you know what I'm saying, with cash. But you need resources. You need strong families, not dysfunctional families. You need families with resources. Okay, you need competent people. Okay, and you need about 3 to 5 of them. 3 to 5 of them. Now I'll get on how I'm dealing with things here, because you need people. At the end of the day, you need people. Okay. You need to make sure that you need to be able to develop real friendships, real connections with people. And so that's why, the homesteaders, because pretty much everybody around me is a homesteader. Is farmland and homesteads. That's all it is that surrounds with me. So me personally, what I do is I develop the relationships with the 5 families, 6 families. I know this family over here. I know that family over there. I've sat down and I've drunk with them. I've done projects with them. Having a drink, you know what I'm saying, over their house or whatever, something like that. Talking and understanding them. I've worked and done projects at their house. I've done projects at their house. I've coordinated and you see how you need to do that, because at the end of the day, you may not have the same faith, but you have the same goal. You have the same objective in terms of securing your own. And that's why you're going to need to be able to develop real friends, as well as anybody that, I'm saying, you could develop a friendship with and bring in a fold for times that get pretty much hectic in this country. And it's going to be different. It's going to be different when it comes to different communities, different suburbs. Everywhere is not going to be a total grid down collapse, anarchy type situation. No. One of the things that I notice in the depiction of movies is that whenever a calamity takes place, communities come together, especially in rural sections. They get in their pickup trucks and they create watches. They cut off roads inside and out of their community. They make sure that, you know what I'm saying, nobody just can't come in and out. And they coordinate individually, because at the end of the day, everybody around here, at least where I am, they have resources, meaning that they have wells, greenhouses, seeds, cattle, and the skill sets to maintain all of that. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to want to network with those people. If you're not in a situation where you can develop those kind of situations where, the people have the resources to do something for themselves on your land, or if they're not nearby. And I'm talking about walks way, you know what I'm saying, away. If you can't walk to their house, they do not count. They do not count. That's not a part of your what's the word I'm looking for? Your inner circle, like Pastor Joe Fox talks about. If you can't walk to them, you know what I'm saying? If you can't hear them or be on a radio with them and coordinate something to respond very quickly. I remember a situation that I had with a neighbor, right? So this neighbor, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. No idea what was going on. And my neighbor called me up and was like, yo, I got a problem. You know what I did? Because, hey, he's my neighbor, right? I immediately got up. My wife didn't even know where I was going. I threw on you see my bulletproof vest? I keep it at the ready. I threw on my vest. I grabbed my rifle. I grabbed an extra clip, got in my car, and was up there ready to deal with any threat that would take place. You know what kind of spirit came up on that man when he saw I did that? Do you know what kind of, he's like, damn, man, you was here for me. I mean, you know how many cool points I earned? You see, I showed myself to be friendly. I had absolutely no idea what the situation I was going to, but I was prepared to engage it because he's my neighbor. He's a person that I have community. He's come here and he's helped me out and fixing things and he showed me the ropes. And you see what I'm saying? It's about developing that friendship. But in the time of need, thankfully, nothing was going on. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I showed up ready to deal with the situation. You know what I'm saying? Blocked off the driveway, jumped out. You know what I'm saying? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Friendships. You want to develop real friendships. You need to understand how these things take place. Um, People need to be loyal to you first. In order to build any successful community, you're going to need to be able to uh, fellowship and have access to sound-minded people. If not, you got to go another route, because I wouldn't suggest that you build community or attempt to build community with people that have mental health issues, people that are double-minded, people that really don't have resources, and because it's just a burden on you. I mean, across the board, it's just a burden. You know what I'm saying? It's a resource drain. These are the things that you need to take into consideration. So with that being said, I'm going to end this, answer your questions. Community, homesteading, loyalty,